All right, so today we're going to learn how to use Corel Draw to set up a graphic for a fathead or a sticker using the vinyl cutter. So you're going to want to open Corel Draw, and you're going to want to use New Document. And when this Create a New Document window pops up, you want to think about how big you actually want the graphic to be. So if you're making a fathead and you want the fathead to be approximately, let's say 15 by 15, that's what you want to set your working space to. So right now it defaults to a standard letter size paper. Okay. You are going to get for free 14 inches by 14 inches. So I would set this to 14 by 14. And that's the only thing you need to change. If you want to name it, you can name it right here. So you could call it fathead if you wanted to. Okay. And then you would click OK. So the drawing area right here is now 14 inches by 14 inches, as you can see in the upper left here. Okay. So now is where you have to think about, well, what do you want to be on the actual piece of material? Okay, so let's say it's a graphic of a sports team. Okay, so again, you would go and you would find the graphic. So let's say you're looking for, let's say, a Broncos logo. Okay. You go to Images, and here, like we've talked about before a little bit, the better the image, the better it's going to print out. Okay, so I always like to go to Search Tools and increase my size to, and I usually don't go above 800 by 600. Once you get into 2MP and 4MP, you're looking at photographs, which you can print those off, but they're a little bit harder to work with. So here's one that's pretty good. Okay, you can see it's nice and clear. I always like to click View Image and then right-click, Copy Image, and I can go back into Corel and use my Control-V to paste it in. Now you see that it comes in and it brings in a black background. That's okay. Okay. So now we are going to edit this image just a little bit. We're going to right-click on the image, choose Outline Trace and Line Art. Now in this window, you want to make sure that it says that the Remove Background box is checked. And notice that most of the black does go away except for this little corner up in here, but that's okay. We can get rid of that later on. So I'm going to click OK. And now you have a graphic. However, you have this little black corner up here. So when you're using Corel for graphics on the vinyl cutter, whether it's stickers or a poster or a wall decal, you need to be able to use the Object Manager and Object Properties over here on this toolbar. Okay. So right now I have a group of 11 objects. They're together, so if I highlight them, I can move them all at one time. However, I do need to get rid of that black. So I want to open up, and I can go in and actually, without ungrouping them, just kind of toggle through. So there, that curve is the one I want to get rid of. I can hit Delete, and that will go away. Okay. Notice there's also a white curve. There's no reason to print white because the material is white, so I always get rid of the white curves as well. Now notice what happened there. If you look right here in this area, when I delete that, you can now see through. So basically there is no color in this area of the white there. So now I can resize this. Okay. I can resize this, and I notice that, am I going to be able to fill up all of my 14 by 14 here? No, however, I could rotate this to make it bigger. So if I rotate this 45 degrees, and if you hit the letter P on your keyboard, it will center the graphic on your workspace. So I could even go maybe 60 degrees, and now I'm starting to see where I can get a bigger graphic in that area. I still have to shrink it down a little bit. And now that fits. Okay? If I don't rotate that, notice it's too big. But I can rotate it to fit in that area, so I can get a bigger graphic. Okay? All right, so we have our graphic, but you would probably want this to cut out and be able to be the actual shape and not just a square. Okay? So to do that, we have to assign a certain color to the outline of this object. And that is in a different color palette. So if you notice over here, I have two other color palettes besides your default color palette. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these so I can show you how to bring them back in. So the way to bring in the Roland, that's the name, the brand name of the vinyl cutter, Roland. The way to bring in the Roland color palette is to hit this little arrow here, go to Palette and Open, and notice that now for me it defaults to Student Share, Manufacturing, and then Roland Palette. In there, you want to choose the Roland Perf and click Open. And so it shows up. Yours should just pop up over here. So now I have 5 colors in there. I have a pink, and then 3 types of gray, and then a blue. And they all have a little dot in the corner. The pink is what we're going to use. That's called a cut contour. And that's going to tell the vinyl cutter to cut around the edge of this as soon as I make that line. So now we need to get the line on there. So I'm going to click on my graphic. I'm going to go to Object, and then Shaping, and then Boundary. Now you can't see it right now. If I zoom in, you can kind of see there's a black outline. Well, we don't want it to be black. We want it to be this hot pink. We're going to right-click on it, and it puts a hot pink line around that. And it assigns this curve. So the curve, if you look at the properties, I think you can leave it at 0.5, but I always change it to hairline just in case. But notice that this pink has that little dot in the corner just like it does on the palette. So it's not the pink here. It's not your magenta on your default color palette. It is the pink on the Roland palette. Now, once we have that all done, we're ready to go. Now, there is 2 things you have to do here. First thing you would do is you would save this. So I'm going to call it Broncos Fathead. And you're going to obviously save it wherever you want to save it, usually your directory. But the key is then after that, you have to save this as a PDF. And to save as a PDF, it's very easy. At the very top, right underneath the word table, is a little icon that has the letters PDF on it. It says Publish to PDF. If you click that button, it will save that file as a PDF. And PDF is what we use to cut on the vinyl cutter. And that's all she wrote.